Hi everyone, my name is Natalie, so it's been a few months and to be honest, when you stop filming regularly it gets very difficult to get back into it, and I haven't taken this long a break since the first few years of doing booktube, so it's been very difficult to get back into the swing of things and to prioritize filming. But I was in London for a few days, a week or two ago now, at the end of September, and I really wanted to film as soon as I came back to talk about the books that I bought there and talk about some of the things that I got up to, but I ended up falling ill pretty much immediately after the trip and was just lying in bed for almost a week, and then this week I am finally now 2 weeks later feeling better again. So I've just been too sickly or too poorly to be able to film. So I thought that today I would just do kind of a chat and talk about some of the things, as I said, that I bought in London and what I got up to, as well as just a general chat and what I've been up to in the last few months, and kind of ease my way into filming again. So first of all, what has been happening throughout this year since the early summer. So during the summer, I spent 2 weeks in Italy and did quite a lot of reading there, and just spent most of that time relaxing, eating good food, enjoying the warm weather, which in Sweden we had a very, very rainy summer, so it was nice to have a break from that in Italy. Although I feel like this year the weather has just been so strange, so it is very worrying. And while I was in Italy, we had one day of hail, which hail big as, like, I'm trying to think of something to compare it to in English, but it was just like these snowballs of hail, and it was disturbing to say the least. And then that quickly shifted into warm summery weather again, so that was strange, but it was a really lovely time in in Italy, and just relaxing and reading. So eventually I do want to talk about the books that I read during my vacation and since then. So I was off work for 4 weeks, and most of the time I was at home I spent with my sister, and I went to a few museums local to me and did some reading again. And like I said, I do want to eventually make a recently reading or a catch-up wrap up of what I've been reading this year that I haven't talked about yet. And then I have gotten back into work and have been working since mid-August, and it's always kind of a bit of a period where I don't have the energy to do much else except for working, especially because the start of term is always more busy. And then in September I went to a few more local museums to me, which I feel like museums is one of those things I really, really enjoy, like having an outing specifically for museums that I don't do often enough, and every time I do it I realize how much fun I find it. So that is something I definitely want to kind of try to make time for in the everyday. And then at the end of September, like I said, I went to London. So that's basically the a recap of this time that I've been away. I've just been reading, working, reading slowly, working, doing a lot of knitting. I will put a photo of one of the sweaters that I just finished knitting, and this weekend I've been knitting on my Laulu shawl, the pattern is by Sari Nordlund. and I am doing some swatches for another project that I'm going to be starting today, hopefully. I do want to talk more about my knitting because it's such a big part of my life and my day-to-day, and it's an interest that is definitely as big as reading is for me, so I do want to incorporate it more, and share some of the things I'm working on or things I want to be working on. So I might do some knitting updates videos or try to find a format where I can talk about it more more regularly throughout the year. So hopefully that is of interest, but I do want to make space for my other interests and hobbies on this channel because I think that will make it more sustainable for me as well, and being able to share other parts of my life and interests with you and find hopefully like-minded people, because I think this space for me, the purpose of it is to be engaging with you and to get to know people. And I think my London trip definitely showed that to me, what a change BookTube has meant for me, and finding like-minded people and reading stuff together and those kinds of things. It's the reason I do create these videos and engage with others. So I do want to share more aspects of me and hopefully find like-minded people as well to chat about knitting with. So that is basically the recap portion. There's nothing like exciting that has been happening really. Like, I've had a fantastic summer. I've had a really great London trip, which I'll get back to now in a minute. But other than that, it's just been kind of the daily routines, and the reason I haven't been filming is just that I felt out of habit of doing it and trying to find the carve out the time to do it as well. So yeah. So as I said, at the end of September, I went to London for 4 whole days, and the 5th was basically just a travel day. So I my flight was on Thursday morning, the 21st of September, I think, and the Thursday itself I spent mostly exploring on my own, and I went to the Tate Modern Museum, which was really fun. It was kind of a spontaneous visit because I was trying to kill some time before I could check into my hotel. And so I was just kind of exploring and walking around a lot because I hadn't got my Oyster card yet. And so I was just walking around everywhere and taking photos and exploring and eating and, you know, all that typical touristy stuff. And then Thursday evening I had the concert that was kind of the reason I decided on this trip in the first place. So I went to see Yo Hisashi and the symphony orchestra that performed the music from the Studio Ghibli movies. And it was amazing. I had been looking forward to this for a while now, so it was meant to be last summer, and then it got postponed, and it got postponed again to this year. So I was very happy that I finally got a chance to see this concert and to hear him live. I was very, very tired when I was at the concert because of having been traveling the same day and walking, as I said, a lot during the first day. And I also ended up getting stuck in the rain on my way to the concert and standing in the queue outside in pouring rain, and I didn't have an umbrella, I didn't have a jacket or a hoodie, so I was just standing there in pouring rain, and I was dripping, my hair was dripping, I was just so completely soaked, my sweater, and I was sitting in a tank top throughout the concert. So I think throughout the concert I was pretty much not in my best condition, let's put it like that. The concert itself was fantastic, I was just very, very tired. So I'm kind of making a mental note not to travel the same day as the concert in the future, and also to definitely pack an umbrella or like a rain outer layer, raincoat outer layer, like those that you can put, rain ponchos is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that is the wisdom I've learned from this this trip, is to make sure to be prepared for rain in London, which I really should have guessed, but I looked at the weather forecast and it did not say any rain, and I was foolish and naive to think that I would escape it. So the concert was fantastic. I was very teary-eyed, especially for the House Moving Castle sections, because that is my favorite movie of all time. There were a lot of really fantastic bits where there was choir, and the choir itself was English, so parts of the singing was in an English translation, part of it was in Japanese, but it was really well performed, and a very magical evening, I would say, and the atmosphere from the audience as well was really lovely. So yeah, the Thursday was a hectic day, and I don't know if I've shown this before in my videos, but I got this Kiki tattoo earlier this year in April to kind of because of the concert that I was going to go to this year. And I do want to get a Houseman Castle tattoo as well. Like I said, it is my favorite movie, but I haven't decided on which scene to get, so that is the only reason I haven't gotten a tattoo of that. But that is something I'm planning to get. So yeah, so that was the first day of London, and then on Friday I spent another day just exploring on my own, doing touristy stuff. I went to the Welcome Collection and looked around in the Being Human exhibition, which was great, and I think especially the parts about disability I found so fantastic. There was like audio narrative stuff that was just, those were the things that I particularly enjoyed in the exhibition, but it was very thought-provoking, very well created and curated. So then I also went to the store of the Welcome Collection, and that was like, it was like a store made for me. There was just so many things that I was drawn to, especially in the book section. I only got I got some very typical touristy stuff in the Welcome Collection store because I was trying to not buy too many things on this trip, because I only had a small hand luggage with me, and needed to try to fit everything I bought in the very small bag. So what I got was, like I said, a very typical touristy thing. I got Walking London, The Best of the City, a step-by-step guide, mostly because of the map in the back, and try to figure out the neighborhood situation in London, because I realized when I was there that London is such a big city, and I don't know why it hadn't crossed my mind before going there this time, because I have been in London before, but that time I didn't really explore the city. I just went to a concert. So while doing all of this walking this trip, I realized how many neighborhoods there are, how many different sections of the city, and I was trying to figure it out while walking and taking the tube, but I felt like this kind of book would be helpful in preparing and planning my next trip, which I definitely want to be doing in the next, like, I want to make another trip to London hopefully within a year. That is the plan and the hope, because I had such a fun time and so many things I want to make, so many things I want to do, that I was kind of, I had a list of things I wanted to do this time, and I was crossing them off and coming across new things that I want to do, and so created an entirely new list while I was there of things I knew I wouldn't have the time to do the first time. So definitely I want to return, and hopefully this will be helpful in planning for that. And I think it has information about different things to do in different parts of the city, basically, and how to walk around a particular route, which I think will be helpful. So there's that one. And then I also got 2 postcards. This one, which I really liked, and I figured I could either put them on the wall or I could use them as bookmarks. And then these ones as well, which is from the Welcome Collection, obviously, and different photographs. Yeah, like this. So typical touristy stuff to buy postcards, but I like them, so whatever. And I was trying to be good and not buy other things, which was difficult because I found, especially the book collection for like medicine, for queer books, for nature, would really recommend if you're in the neighborhood. And then on Friday I also went to the Wallace Collection, which the Wallace Collection itself, like their permanent stuff, was interesting, but wasn't the purpose that I went there in the first place. Although I did find some of the like interior design things to be really, really interesting and kind of inspirational. But anyway, the exhibition I went there for is called Portrait of Dogs, which I think is still running until the end of the month. I think throughout October. Might be the last month of the exhibition, and it was fantastic. It's basically just an exhibition for dogs in art, and I loved it. I obviously am a big dog fan, and I'd seen some advertisement about it earlier on this year and already knew that I wanted to go to this exhibition, so that was a priority thing for me. Really well curated, and there was also like an audio guide that you could listen to as you walked through, and that was also really well created. So I was very happy with that exhibition, and my favorite parts were probably the David Hockney pieces, which I actually got a book collecting those dog portraits that he has created, that I bought for my parents because they're also big dog fans. So that was a book that I bought this trip, but I don't have with me. So the Friday was just a lot of exploring, and those were the two like main things I did that day. And then on Saturday I was switching hotels because at first I was in the Wembley area because of the concert, and I moved to Paddington on Saturday, and then I went to the Natural History Museum to meet up Nicole Miles. I will put a link to her channel in the description below. We got to know each other through like right before the pandemic, and through mutual friends, and we've obviously been doing the Invisible Cities project together and some other things, and we've basically known each other for about 3 years now. And so I finally got an opportunity to meet up with her and Dan, her partner, and it was a fantastic day. It was just, the excitement level of meeting up with her was very high. I was smiling so much throughout the day that my face muscles were aching. So we just spent the entire day exploring the Natural History Museum and talking and chatting as we went along. And the museum itself is also fantastic. Like the size of it is just on a completely different scale than my local Natural History Museum. You could definitely spend the entire day from the moment the museum opens until it closes and still not have looked at everything. My favorite part of the museum was seeing Mary Anning's findings. I just found that very exciting, and yeah, it was just, I definitely want to revisit the Natural History Museum there. And I also have a t-shirt that I bought there from the store, which I don't know if you can see much. I don't know what is in the screen now. But yeah, I bought that. I bought the t-shirt. I bought a tote bag with butterfly, like natural history illustrations of butterflies. And yeah, I'm very happy with both of those things, and will definitely be getting a lot of use out of them. Again, I found a lot of things that I could easily have bought there, but I was trying to be good and only buy things that I could carry so they wouldn't take up much space in my luggage. But yeah, the Saturday was just a very intensely happy day. And I barely took any photos because I just completely forgot about it. But I do have one, so I'll put that on the screen, of me and Nicole. So yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to say. It was just a fantastic day. And then on Sunday, I had another fantastic day meeting up with friends. So I met up with Oliver from Chaotic Bibliophile. Again, it was so fantastic to finally meet Oliver in face to face. We've been friends since 2018 or 2019, so it's been almost 5 years, I think. We tried to figure out when we got to know each other through YouTube, and I couldn't exactly pinpoint it, but it's been a long while. So we met up in Euston, at Euston Square Station, and then walked around and went on a little book crawl, and had coffee, walked around in the area, and just spent a lot of time book browsing and chatting. And again, I had such a good time this day as well. It was kind of the ultimate, like, this is the way I want to spend every Sunday, just the ultimate bookish day spent with friends and good company. So the books I bought from the trip was from this day because I'd been saving. I knew that I would only be able to fit 4 or 5 books in my luggage, and I had already decided that if I bought any books from this trip, it would be with Oliver on Sunday. So we went to Gaze the Word and to the Waterstones. And the Waterstones size, I mean, you could easily, again, spend the entire day there, and we were there for several hours, and I still hadn't looked at every single shelf. So yeah, it was basically heaven for me. So in Gaze the Word, I bought 2 books. First of all, we have Willows by Sylvia Townsend Warner. I've been wanting to buy this since the summer when I read Amina Kane's essay collection, where she talked about this book a lot, and I've been eager to buy it since reading her essay on it. So also, I should mention that I loved that essay collection, A Horse at Night. Is something like that. You know the one. I will put a picture of it on the screen. Willows, so gentle and accommodating, has depths no one suspects. When she suddenly announces that she is leaving London and moving alone to the depths of the countryside, her overbearing relatives are horrified. But Lolly has a greater, far darker calling than family: witchcraft. The reason that I was drawn to this was kind of the solo female protagonist aspect of it. Like, I think the the things that Amina Kane talks about is the fact that she is on her own and sort of the way that that is portrayed. So I'm very interested in this one. The other one I bought from Gaze the Word is Notes from Childhood by Nora Lang, translated by Charlotte Whittle, and this is an autobiography / memoir. It says, a series of luminous autobiographical vignettes weave the childhood memories of Argentina's great rediscovered literary innovator into a tapestry of Proustian brilliance. I love autobiographical writing, memoir writing, and especially sort of the memory aspect of like looking back into childhood, looking back into memories of tinged with nostalgia. So I think this will be interesting, and I feel like I've seen someone on Instagram talk about this one fairly recently as well. If I remember who it was, I will put a link to the post in the description. But yeah, I'm really interested in this one and looking forward to reading it. And then I bought 2 books in Waterstones as well. So we have Sleepless by Marie Dariusk and translated by Penny Houston. This is a book all about insomnia, and that in itself just kind of appeals to me as an idea. And it is an essay collection, obviously published by Fitzcarraldo, which always do really interesting things. It says, plagued by insomnia for 20 years, Mary DeRusk turns her attention to the causes, implications, and consequences of sleeplessness. And she recounts her own experiences alongside those of fellow insomniacs, mostly writers, as if writing were not sleeping. Ovid, Marcel Proust, Virginia Woolf, Marguerite Duras, Franz Kafka, George Perec, and others. And I just had a good feeling about this one. I'm very interested. So I'm very eager to read this now, but I think I might save it because I've been really in a fiction mood lately. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one though. And then the other one I bought from Waterstones is Poor Little Sick Girls by Ione Gamble. This was on they had a table where they recommended various books, and this was one of them. And I also remember seeing this one a lot around Instagram, and I've been sort of had this on my radar because of the chronic illness elements in it, which is a topic that I've been reading more on and wanting to read more on as well. Ione Gamble never imagined that entering adulthood would mean being diagnosed with an incurable illness, watching identity politics become social media fodder. From the confines of her sickbed, Ione began to pick apart our obsession with self-care, personal branding, productivity, and living your best life. Hashtag living your best life. Using her experiences with disability to cast a fresh gaze on the particularly peculiar cultural movement in which young women find themselves, Poor Little Sick Girls explores the pressures and power experienced by those existing as an unacceptable woman in our current era of empowerment. So yeah, I'm very, very intrigued with this one, and we'll probably be prioritizing it soonish. So those were the books that I have bought in London and what I've been up to lately, and I just wanted to briefly mention what I am currently reading / what I've just finished. So while I was sick, I was kind of reading more than I have for a few weeks, and not the first few days because those days were I was just lying in bed watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and Devil's Plan, which is a Korean game show featuring Sungwon from 17, which if you haven't watched this already, I very much recommend it. The games themselves are very complicated and I didn't exactly follow the rules, but the drama that ensues with all of the teams and groupings is so fun. But anyway, I finished Loveless by Alice Osman during the time that I was sick. I started this one right before my trip to London, and this is a young adult book, which I don't read enough of. I don't know why. I've somehow thought that I would not enjoy any YA, or like as soon as I stopped reading YA, I never reached for it again, and there's been, I think, this sense that all of it is the type of YA that I read when I last read it. So like I think that I assume that YA is just fantasy romance stuff, and obviously there's more to it than that. So reading this one made me realize that if there's an interesting topic, I should definitely be reading more YA going forward. If I'm drawn to the premise, then the fact that it's marketed as YA should not be hindering me from reading a book. So this one is about a protagonist figuring out her sexuality, and the reason I wanted to read this is hopefully not a spoiler, but if you don't want to know about it, then you can stop listening right now. She's figuring out that she's aro ace, and that is the reason I picked this one up. Particularly also because Alice Osman identifies as aro ace. So I had high hopes, and I really, really enjoyed this. There is just the aro ace representation itself is fantastic, and had I read this in my teens, in the sort of same age that the protagonist is, it would have meant so much to me that this book existed, and I think it would have changed how I viewed myself. And would have saved me a lot of time and effort to come to terms with how I work, who I am. I was just enjoying it from start to finish, and the friendship elements of it was just perfect. So if you are looking for aro ace rep, I would definitely recommend this one. If you're looking for just a good friendship novel, again, I would recommend this one. And if you know of any good aro ace books, whether they be like openly someone has, the author has claimed them to be so, or if you are sort of reading into that and the characters, do let me know. I'm always looking for more good rep within this spectrum, which is sadly very underrepresented. But yeah, this was fantastic. So that is the most recent book I finished, and aside from my reread of Sherlock Holmes, I am currently listening through the audiobooks narrated by Stephen Fry, and I finished A Study in Scarlet this weekend, which is a lot of fun but isn't the best in the series. The meeting of Sherlock and Watson is obviously fantastic, but the rest of the book is not necessarily my favorite. So I'm now listening to The Sign of Four. Will continue throughout the audiobooks to have that as kind of a background thing that I listen to when I'm knitting and doing other things. And it's also a perfect like autumn listen. So that is what I'm currently reading and slash have recently been reading, and I think I will probably start reading some other things. I'm kind of in the middle of some other books as well, but have not been actively reading them for a few days, so I'll chat about them more when I finish them and do, like I said, a recent reading wrap up soonish. But that was all I wanted to say for this rambly, chatty catch up video, which has been kind of all over the place probably, but I just kind of wanted to get back into the rhythm of of filming. So let me know what you have been reading recently. Are you reading any of the Booker list, long listed or short listed books this year? I'm not really interested in this prize personally, but I am very interested in the Nobel Prize winner for literature this year, which is Jon Fosse. I have tried his books before, but I was not in the mood for them when I tried them. So I am wanting to pick up the other name in Swedish translation, which I probably will do soonish. And yeah, I will hopefully return soon with another bookish video. So hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.